Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer Studio episode. This one we got something a little different for you than what we normally do here at Brickmania. Although not entirely out of the wheelhouse because we have actually kind of ventured into this gangsters era. Yeah, a bit before. Stuff, but this is the first time we've ever actually turned it into a kit. So this is the Bonnie and Clyde car, complete with Bonnie and Clyde. Designed by Amanda. You guys know her as MN Art Girl. Talk to me a little bit about, let's just start with the design itself, because there's a lot of angles in a very small vehicle. Yeah. Where did you even start in the design process of this thing? Did you work front to back, up to top? Like,
you know, I kind of laid out, it was funny, I mean, I did several like sizes. I'm like, oh, too big, too small, too big. Tracy came down and was helping out because she's a really big fan, and Austin jumped in. Everyone kind of was like, hey, what can we do? So it was kind of a group effort, to say the least, of getting opinions and feedback and whatever. But yeah, I started with just the wheelbase and be like, okay, I want it this wide, and then we started kind of the front and worked on that very extreme angles of the front, and started getting something we liked there, started getting the hubs in place, and then it kind of, this piece actually got built like really early on. Okay. Mainly designed by Tracy, actually.
The top part, okay, interesting.
Yeah, Tracy was like, hey, what about this? I'm like, I like it.
That works, yeah, there you go.
And, but yeah, so we kind of kept playing around with it. I played around a lot with the back door, trying to get that to open up, and it was too cramped, it was too small. Yeah, it was just a lot of trial and error. Yeah,
sure. As most kits are, but this is a little different even
yeah,
more so.
I mean, when I build at home and mocks and stuff, like I do a lot of like very organic sculptures and stuff like that. Sure. And so I don't tend to do a lot of vehicles, and I watch Dan and the rest of them and just, you know, all the sound effects of building. And
like in the video games.
Yeah, exactly. And they throw it together really quick. And no, I mean, it came together fairly quickly, but it was definitely a lot of playing around.
Well, and obviously there are curved elements in the Lego system, but that doesn't necessarily allude to building scaled things that are curved to that proper way. So that is definitely tough. You can see kind of some of the integrations, especially on the rear wheel there, of just how those elements had to work together to kind of bring that out.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of, you know, what could we do? You know, how the whole bumpers slope inward too, and so, you know, we have the steps that we ended up doing there, and I think it worked out really well. I'm really happy with it. I think, you know, it holds true to the kind of the shape. It definitely feels Lego.
Absolutely, absolutely. Try to open a door here.
Yeah.
Oh, it can be a little.
Yep. Yeah. The doors are pretty thin.
It's all right. I was just going to point out the fact that I like how they kind of have that. I mean, we call it the suicide door, right?
Yep.
I think that's a cool element to capture, because if you leave that out, or if it opens any other way just because you weren't trying to get some sort of functionality in there.
The suicide doors was important.
It doesn't quite capture the same feel at all. And then obviously the printing on this thing, I'll get it spinning back around again, but like, my goodness,
Slam did a great job. Beautiful headlights and the grill in the front, and headlights in the front, and the horn pieces, I guess is what they are. These are actually horns, I believe, is what Slam found out.
That jalopy noise, or whatever,
But yeah, the V8 was Clyde's favorite. He actually wrote to Ford, right? Ford, yeah, Ford, and like wrote a letter saying, "Yours is the one I always want to use when I'm running away," and all this kind of stuff. And Ford kept it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Clyde was all about like, hey, you know, you have the best car, and I'd never want to take another getaway car but yours. And
imagine being sponsored as a famous bank robber. That'd be an interesting situation, or just a weird letter to receive if you're, you know, like, oh well, I don't know how to feel about this. This could be some PR issues.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. Another element of collaboration here we have is on the minifigures themselves, because we got some exclusive perfect calibers in this thing.
Yeah, the smallest to date perfect caliber, I believe.
With that snub nose, probably.
I think that was kind of a thing. Is Devin and Slam were both like, this is so tiny. But Sam did, beautiful job as always on his perfect calibers. I think they turned out great. And the figs were fun. Went with kind of the very classic, their little photo shoot that you see everywhere.
Yeah,
the two
right.
of them.
It's super iconic.
Yeah, I mean, the red outfit was used in most of the Broadway plays. Like, you'll see the actresses always wearing the red outfit. Not so much in all of the movies, but some of them definitely have it. Very like the tight sweater and all that.
Yeah, sure.
His classic pinstripe. And,
Which definitely gives it that gangster feel for kind of the rest of the lineup there, for sure.
The Barrows gang, and all that, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, kind of doing some research and, just finding they obviously just had a ridiculous gangster photo shoot. I mean, the more you start digging in, the more and more, like you see like there's the two kind of classic poses that you see them in all over, and then the more you start digging, you find there's quite a few photos from this suit.
2, 3, 4, yeah.
Yeah, there's probably like 6 or 7 photos of them. One he's got like 18 guns he's holding or something silly, and but yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed doing the hair piece and beret combo on her.
No, I don't mean to put you on the spot here at all, but like, do you think that would integrate with the Lego backpack because it's short enough to get underneath that bedroll, or do you think it'd be pretty darn close?
Our bedroll or the classic Lego?
The classic one, the Lego element. I know our bedroll's a little bigger.
It'd be tight.
Okay,
it'd be tight.
Fair enough. Because I was curious when I saw that. I feel like one of the things that's still continually missing from the system itself is that there just are not a lot of instantly identifiable as female hair pieces or hats in general that also work with like any sort of gear 100%. Like all of the guy hair pieces do. Yep. And so it's kind of cool to see when you create some of that kind of stuff, like, oh, how would it fit into the system as well? Yep. Not that you're going to take your Bonnie apart because you want to use the parts from a custom figure like that, but it's just still a cool thing to think about. You know what I mean?
You never know. There might,
you could be.
You could always get something.
If you got money like that, I'm jealous.
You might be able to get one in there, but I don't know.
Sure.
It bounces the head up though, so I don't know. Maybe the parachute backpack.
Yeah. Okay.
Like where that's pretty
a little bit lower down.
Low. It pretty much just goes off the bracket and straight down.
So if Bonnie ever went DB Cooper on the bit, she'd be in good shape. That's pretty excellent.
It's the other story that you don't know.
Exactly, right, the untold Bonnie and Clyde that ends with a little more happiness than the actual ending.
Yeah, that was rough. That was definitely rough. I also I decided to kind of match up their clothes a little bit. Gave them a dark red tie. So they kind of have a nice little tie into each other. Like, hey, we're a couple. We're gonna dress. There's the matching corsage.
Well, depending on what film you watch, they were certainly into each other. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, any letters or stuff that you find online, it's all about just the fact that they were just like stupidly, insanely in love with each other, as insane as they were in other cases.
Well,
funeral homes were a big fan.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They really enjoyed robbing funeral homes apparently, as well.
That is just insane.
I mean, I think that pretty much sums them up as they're a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
but
at the same time, they I don't want to say inspired a nation, but at least captured the nation's attention for a pretty significant amount of time. So
yeah, definitely. They're one of those, like, everyone's like, Bonnie and Clyde, yeah. Everyone's heard of them at least at some point or another.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
really
Great
cool.
Depression. It's been what, they died in 1935-ish. I mean, that's a long time ago to still be, getting people to still make stuff after them.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, this was really fun. I always enjoyed the movies and this lore when I was a kid and the gangster stuff, playing cops and robbers outside and all that.
Well, and it makes sense if you're going to start, or not necessarily start, but if you're going to move the gangster series, if you will, into kit form. This is a pretty good one to start with, 100%. And then maybe I think we've joked about having the Highwayman 2-pack and include a bullet hole sticker pack in it, you can create a mock if you want to of that entire incident. So, but I'd say for the kit itself, this is pretty darn excellent.
Yeah, we talked about putting bullet holes and printing bullet holes and all that, and decided that this was like just before.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Otherwise, the minifigs would look very different.
Yes, yes. You'd at least have to have double-sided faces.
Yeah, we'd use up those red torsos.
Yeah, there you go. No kidding. No kidding.
But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, well, and definitely a cool and unique kit, an awesome collector's piece. And remember, too, just when it comes to the Gangster series in general, obviously this is not our core product line, so do not expect to see this thing restocked very regularly. Usually just maybe once or twice a year for certain dates. I think this came out on Black Friday or shipped just the week before or something like that.
Handful of them still out there.
Exactly. So if you want to pick this thing up, I would strongly recommend getting on it sooner rather than later, because it's not one that you're going to see like the M4 Sherman or Humvees, etc., that are regularly in the lineup. But still a really cool and unique collector's piece, to say the least. Amanda, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, no problem. And thank you guys very much for watching.